So it's been 3 years since you launched the first of these Social South film festivals, and I imagine that you and the team had a name, a vision and a mission at that time.
Actually, very happy with the festival because it's really kind of developing and growing, steadily. Of course, the only thing is that since we change always countries, and so it's like every time it's a discover. It's a discovery. So this is something that you have to take into consideration. So sometimes we go into well-known path, and we just, as I was saying, we're very happy with the Latin American communities. We're very happy with the European community. So it's a trial and error that we do, but I just love it because I'm always learning. So it's not that I come from a point that I know everything. I don't know anything. I'm learning.
You had experience certainly before organizing events and this kind of major activities. But what was the first idea behind South Social Film?
Yeah, well, because I work always with international cinema. I'm a film journalist, and I used to organize big events also in Italy. And I'm very interested in everything that it's diversity, so everything that's cultural diversity. And I wanted to explore countries for that reason, to show to people that we're all very alike. So it doesn't matter if you come from Greece, or you come from Italy, you come from South America, we're very much alike. And that's my point, if you're using three elements, cinema, music and food, we show that people can relate to.
What's been the biggest challenge?
Well, the biggest challenge is always to find the right partners. Because I always go to the foreign embassies, I go to cultural institutes, and I really try to get them on board, and help us and work together. Because I don't want to do my own festival. I want to work with people, and that's what usually happens. That I always find good partners that are supporting us.
So we are here with Alina Gavrielatos, this short film, but you're also an artist, like a sculptor artist. You're like a wider kind of spectrum of visual artist. How did you get to that, to write or to conceive this short film? When did all this start?
Yes. Well, I guess you hold it. Basically, I had this idea. I had this idea about the film and the myth. I wanted to incorporate an installation set design that I created, and I wrote a script where performers would act within it, and then I worked with a curator that was putting a project together for the Venice Biennale this year in Italy, and it had to do with the subject of anxiety. So I have three characters, and they all have anxiety for different reasons. Wow. And I use the myth for that reason. Yeah.
And have you been traveling around with throughout different festivals with this short film? How's the reaction of the audience after watching it?
Oh yeah, that's a good question. Well, some of them are impressed, and I have to admit, and a little bit shocked, and I'm trying to figure out exactly what I'm trying to say or what it means. But there's also a lot of humor within it, so it's surprising. It's surprising. In 3 minutes, you can capture the whole myth of Persephone, Hades, and Demeter. There's been good response.
In terms of exposing the cultural aspects of the Greek mythology, is it a big subject for you and your art, to expose that, to show that, and to promote that around the world, in your art?
Sure. Yes, very much so. I work a lot with myth and popular culture and folklore. I have a big background in children's illustration and storytelling as well. And I'm also a painter, so I use a lot of motifs within my paintings. I love working with the myths, especially Greek myths. I mean, not only because it's my culture, but because they're so full of, wild and obscure stories that you can relate to a lot of situations in everyday life, contemporary life.
Tu t'appelles comment déjà? Avril. C'est Jam. Je suis grecque. I knew Tony Gottlieb. I had seen his films and I liked them very much. I like the fact that he mixes a documentary with fiction. So I was I was a big fan of his work. So when I met him on the casting, and he asked me if I could dance, I said no. If I could belly dance, I said no. He told me, "Can you sing?" Again, I said no. And he said, "Can you play the barlama?" It's the Greek instrument that Jam plays. I didn't know how to play. I said no. So he was disappointed because I couldn't do anything the character does. So he said, "Okay, but can you walk?" Yes. So I walked down. He made me walk down a corridor, and that's when he told me I was going to play the part. Because later he told me that I walk like Charlie Chaplin.
Wow. And this is, well, Jam has a very strong character in terms of that she's very determined to go and accomplish what she needs to accomplish. But also she exposed and she invites us, to talk about different problems that the world is living in, is going through now at the moment, like economical crisis and the feminism and equal gender and diversity. And how important is for you as an actress as well to put those subjects in a woman's voice?
I went to a festival in Istanbul as a jury and saw 10 movies there, and I was very surprised because there were no women in those movies. It was only men playing, and the feminine roles were secondary roles that had no importance in the narrative, in the story, and it was mostly moms who cook or girlfriends who cry. So I was really happy to portray a character that's a woman that's free, that's completely free, and I hope I will resemble her in the future, and I hope that it will inspire other girls as well.
Great. And how was traveling between Turkey and Greece?
It was very interesting because actually my grandfather came from Turkey in the exchange of population in 1922, exactly the same way refugees come now. So it's a story that us Greeks know very well. So it was interesting to do that road trip and go through the same journey, that my grandfather did. Of course, it's not the same because we were with the crew and everything. So, but it was moving for me, and it was a great road trip we did.
It's great. How's been the audience reaction in the different countries and contexts you've been showing the film?
I think they like it. I don't know. I mean, no one's gonna come and tell me they didn't like it, so I cannot really know. But the impression I get is that they like it. There is a lot of music in the film. It's rebetiko music. It's a Greek music invented from the refugees that came, like my grandfather, in 1920s, and it's music that talks about exile. So it's something that talks a lot to people with all that's happening now.
Does it have a bit of comedy as well, like some funny bits?
Yeah. Yes. No. Yeah. There's some funny moments.
Cool. And what are your next projects, future films?
Yes. So I just finished shooting for the BBC and Netflix series Versailles. That's in English. So it was my first English project, and I did also a French movie. It's gonna come out next year.
Thank you very much.